give you the framework. So Transform Me, our company, we've been doing this work for the last 9 years, 10 years now. And we are the pioneers of storytelling in India. In Australia, we're one of the few organizations that does this work, and even rest of the world, we're one of the few organizations that do this work. And over the last 10 years, we've strengthened our understanding of what works in corporates, what doesn't. We've done a lot of research ourselves, primary and secondary, to understand what's working and what's not. And through that, we've come up with a very simple framework of storytelling, which we call Transform Me's Triple Loop Formula. Now, this is really important for you, and this is where the rubber meets the road. This is an implementation hack. Take a picture of the slide if you want to, because this is really bringing together how storytelling works. Now, first thing to understand is that you're only as good a storyteller as the stories you have. You're only as good a storyteller as the stories you have. You've got to imagine yourself as a storyteller, as a magician. And here's a question for you. How many of you have seen a magic trick ever? A magic show? Just give me a yes as your kid's party or some show or something. Just give me a yes so I know most of you have seen a magic show. So you know a magic show, right? Great. So you know magicians, right? Great. Now here's another question for you. At a magic show, fill in the blanks. At a magic show, a magician would never go without his, fill in the blanks. What would a magician never go without? Hat. Okay, what else? Coat, wand, tricks. Ace up his sleeve, magic stick. Absolutely. A magician would never go to a magic show without his or her props. They would never go without the props. Which is why you're on a magic show and suddenly he takes out a kabutar from here, a pigeon from here, like wow, magic. अरे magic थोड़ी है. वो 2 घंटे से पहले से उसने दबा के रखा हुआ पिजन को ऐसे रखा हुआ तो you can't see it, right? That's preparation. That's not magic. It's preparation, right? Similarly, a storyteller, you cannot afford to go for a meeting, to go for a town hall, to go for a situation where you want to inspire with a story without a story. You can't land up and say, just before my meeting, I'll remember my God and the story will fall on my laps. I wish it happened like that. It won't. The story won't just pop into your head unless you're extremely spontaneous as a person who can think on their feet extremely fast. I can't, so I need to prepare. So a storyteller is only as good as the stories you have. And therefore, to be a good storyteller, we need to start learning how to craft some stories. I've already given you a beginner's toolkit. You should have at least 3 stories to introduce yourself when somebody asks you, what do you do? Tell me about yourself, rather than reading out your resume. A 2-minute story, a 4-minute story, a 7-minute story. Those are your 3 stories. Second, copy shamelessly. I've shared with you a lot of stories. Make them your own. Change them. Stay true to them. Don't say this was me. Say this happened to a coach of mine or a client of mine or somebody that I know. You're still authentic, but you can use somebody else's story. As long as you don't say it's my story, it's absolutely fine. Right? And Transform Me's Triple Loop Formula will help you craft the stories as you go through it. Transform Me Triple Loop Formula goes from the outside to the end, basically saying that whenever you have to craft a story, you have to first work through the context. Go back to my conversation with Mark from Malaysia, sitting down with him, asking him first question, what's your key message? That's happening in the context. He says 40% of blah, blah. I said, no. Why are we doing this? Don't they already know this? Okay, what are we trying to tell them? Oh, why are they with your competitors? Why not with you? Okay, complex, complicated. All of that is happening in the context. This is the dialogue that you're having with yourself. This is where you're asking yourself the questions that need to be asked. Questions like, what do they need to hear? Not just what do I want to say. What's going on in their mind? What is it that I really want to address? Think of a simple business presentation, or think of a presentation to a senior stakeholder where you're asking for funds for a project. You're asking for a budget for an initiative that you want to launch. Now, you may think that my key message is give me the money and this is the results. No. And you think of the context, you say, who am I pitching to? I'm pitching to this partner at EY. Okay. What kind of a person is he or she? Okay, he or she is that kind of a person. What does he or she like? Oh, he or she likes golf, likes cricket. Okay. What is my equation with this person? Oh, we met once, but doesn't know me much. Okay. Likes cricket, doesn't know me much, action oriented. Okay, great. Outcome, no. Relationship, no. You're getting as much information about the content. What's most important for me? What's going on in this person's mind? oh, this partner is actually thinking that in these times we need to conserve our resources, financial resources. I'm asking for money. So they're probably thinking that, is it really worth it? Okay, is it really worth it? Okay, they're thinking that. And as you think of this, you'll come to the key message. You'll say your key message could be something like, sometimes things that don't seem worth it, if you dig deeper, can really transform the entire culture of an organization. Now, think of that as the key message. I'm just giving an example. But the more you work through the context, the clearer you get about your key message. Here's my golden rule about the key message. The key message in storytelling, remember, the key message is the primer, it's not the paint. So don't make the key message the paint, which means don't make your key message transactional. Your point will come later. Your slides will come. But don't make the key message transactional. Instead, make the key message inspiring. Make the key message inspiring. A good key message for me is a key message that doesn't sound transactional, that sounds poetic, philosophical, inspiring, and then connects to the point. So think of this. Things that are complex or complicated drive results, right? As customers evolve over a period of time, they start thriving for privacy. So think beyond the transaction, and as you get to the key message, so once you've locked in, thought of the context, key message, now you reverse engineer. You say, now that I've got the key message is the runway. I want to land on this. Now, what flight route then am I going to take? Am I going to use this story to land here? Am I going to use this story? You'll come up with different narrative ideas. What if I tell a story about myself and I went through a problem like this? Or I tell a story of a client of mine. Or I tell the story of Steve Jobs. You can tell stories of so many different people. It doesn't always have to be your story. That is the process at a very bare nutshell. We spend about 1.5 hours decoding this triple loop formula, but at a very broad level, next meeting you have, next town hall you have, next presentation you have, think about your context, think about your key message. You will, if you're not spending more time on your key message than your story, you're doing something wrong. Your key message would take more time than your story. Crafting that simple one sentence sometimes takes the longest time, but that's really the key. The runway has to be firm. The runway has to be right. Only then can you land the plane safely. Yeah. So that's Transform Me's triple loop formula.